Hey everybody, I'm Dana from Bentley's Drum Shop. I'm here with Paul Jamieson. Thank you for coming out and hanging out today.
Thanks for having me.
So, I'm going to guess you're from Detroit.
What would make you think that?
I love that shirt.
I'm a lion, a tiger, and a redwood.
Nice. So you're a drummer?
No,
No?
I'm a drum tech.
You're a drum tech. You're a legendary drum tech, but tell me kind of how it all started in Detroit.
When I was in high school, Jimi Hendrix was my favorite act.
Yeah.
And Mitch Mitchell was my favorite drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to play drums. And I got a job working midnight shift at the Standard Station on 15 Mile and Telegraph, which is across the street from Macus's Red Fox, where Jimmy Hoffa disappeared.
Oh, wow.
And I worked midnight shifts. And I can't remember what I was making, $3.50 an hour, you know,
Sure.
whatever it was back then. And I saved up all this money from Joe Massimino's music in Detroit. I bought a 70 Ludwig thermoglass kit.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah, and it was a maple, it was a 24-inch kick. They didn't have a 20, I wanted a 26, but nobody had them, and I'd have to wait months.
Sure.
And it had a 13, 14, 16, and 18 floor tom, and a 6.5, it wasn't a super sensitive, but it was
Superphonic, yeah.
So anyways, I would be in the basement, and I'd smoke a joint, I'd put on the headphones and try to keep...
Sure, you're rocking out and playing.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I wasn't a bit fast learner or anything like that. And I got a call from this girl that I knew that worked for Russ Gibb, who was the big promoter in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy that was managed by Jay Giles' band.
Oh, sure.
Roger, and I probably from the weed I smoked, I can't remember his last name. Anyways, one of their crew guys had gotten hurt.
Oh.
And she said to me, they need a drum guy on their crew. Can you fill into this guy? And I took the gig and I made $275 a week on per diem. I think $50 a week per diem, I think. And all of a sudden I'm at the crossroads. Should I practice 8 hours a day and play 5 nights in a bar and make $150? Or set up somebody else's drums and go to England and make $400?
Wow. So you did the math.
It was real easy for me to check my ego. And I got farther in the drum world than any of my peers and guys in Detroit that, you know, I worked for or aspired to work for. And I don't mean to bag on anybody,
No,
not
not
like
at all.
that, but I've been blessed and I had a really good career and I worked for the best people and made good money and here I am.
Here you are.
With you?
Thank you. So you're in Detroit. How did you end up in California? About what year would you say that?
I moved to New York City.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And because the only work in Detroit was Bob Seger and Ted Nugent.
Mm-hmm.
And they had their own guys.
Sure.
And who were friends of mine, by the way. And I had worked for a band in Detroit called Sunday Funnies. And they had 3 albums out on Rare Earth Records, which is a Motown label.
Yeah.
And I moved to New York City, and I met this guy named Jeff Porcaro.
Oh, sure.
And he was real good to me, and he was one of my mentors, and he was Billy Cobham's drum tech. And I was mesmerized by Billy.
Mm-hmm.
His album Spectrum changed my life.
Oh, sure.
That,
Legendary.
that album made me want to do what I do. And I became friends with him, and they did a short tour, maybe about 10 gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him in LA, and they played at Santa Monica Civic. And this friend of mine, Gary Quackenbush was his name, and I worked for him. I was in a band called the SRC out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And they were a big local band. They had 3 albums on Capitol. And he had moved out to LA. And he kept telling me, you should get out here, there's tons of work, you know, they're all here, blah, blah, blah. So I called him and I told him I'm coming up. And he's like, great. So I got there and I met Jeff in San Diego, and he let me crap out in his room, you know. And we went to Santa Barbara and then played the Santa Monica Civic, and that was the last show on the tour. So we're checking out of the hotel, and I called my friend, and I invited him down to the gig, and he says, I can't make it. Call me. So we check out of the hotel, and everybody's going to the airport, and I call him up, and he's like, so you're going to stay? And I go, yeah, we've been talking about this for weeks. He goes, well, why don't you come over? And I'm hoping I crap out at his place. And he says, why don't you come over like next Wednesday? And all I knew about LA was they make records and movies in Hollywood. Don't go to once, and you go to Malibu once you make. That's all I knew about LA, and this one guy. So I took the bus from the Holiday Inn in Santa Monica down Sunset to this management company. Ron Strasner was his name, and he managed the band Rare Earth. And he also had George Clinton and the Funkadelics.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
George had like 5 different record deals and 5 different bands going on at the same time. So anyways, I went to their office, and there was it's where Spago's is now, a big restaurant.
Oh, yes.
It used to be a Ramada Inn. I had $300 in my name, in my pocket. And this is 1974, April 1974. So they had a deal with the Ramada Inn. So they got me a room for $35. So now I'm down to like $260 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I called my friend, he says, yeah, come on over tomorrow. So I went over, took the bus again to his place in Hollywood, and he lived at Highland and Franklin by the Hollywood Bowl. He introduced me to the landlord there. And the guy said, I have a single apartment, it's $250 a month. I got $265. I just moved to town, you know, I'm looking for work, blah, 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 and he gave me a chance. He didn't make me pay the first and last month's rent.
Wow.
But he took the $250 from me, so now I got $15 in my name. I starved for the first couple of weeks. And I went to this rehearsal place, SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals. And I got a job there, and this guy, Gary Clemmer was his name, and he was from Detroit. And he hired me because I had road experience, and I worked in the rehearsal studios, getting the bands in there. And they're booked the day from 10 a.m. to 6, and then you had a 1-hour turnaround, and then 7 to closing. So I would get one band out and the next band in, and from working there, I got spot work, and you know, got my finger in the pie, and you know, met a bunch of people, and I got a job with Rare Earth because the guy Joe Armini was leaving. So I worked for them for about a year and a half. And I met this drummer, John Guerin.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Great drummer.
Great drummer.
Really cool guy. And he had a band called the LA Express. So I did gigs for him. Then I got a gig with Styx Hooper, and they were called the Jazz Crusaders. And they had just got Larry Carlton
Oh, gosh, yeah.
to play guitar.
Wow.
And they dropped the word jazz, and now they're the Crusaders.
Great band. I have
Yeah.
some of their albums.
Oh, yeah,
It's
great stuff. And my girlfriend at the time, one of her girlfriends was over, and you know, I told her, you know, I do drums, and they said, you know, oh, well, my boyfriend's a studio drummer, blah, blah, blah. Jeff Porcaro.
Oh.
So that's how I met Jeff. And I started being his setup guy in the studios. And there's a company, R&R Express, and they would do his cartage and they'd deliver the drums. And then I'd show up and set them up, change heads, quasi-tune them, and then he would show up and retweak his stuff, and I'd kind of hang out at the session. I can't remember, I think he paid me $75 a session, I can't remember. And he was playing with Boz at the time. So he got me in on the Boz Skaggs bunch. And when they were doing the album Silk Degrees, Boz asked Jeff if he knew any songwriters. And just like, well, my friend David Page. And the two of them had played together since high school, their fathers knew each other and the whole bit. So they got, he brought Page down. And Page had all these songs, and when all was said and done, Page wrote every song in an album, and Boz wrote all the lyrics.
Really? Wow.
So when they were done recording, they were friends with Leonard that owned the studio. It's called Davlin in North Hollywood. And they'd stay, and then they'd do the total demos. And that turned out to be, I think, the #2 album of 1976.
Yeah.
And Sony gave, it was Columbia back then, gave them, Page and Jeff, oh, we're interested, do you have a band? Oh, yeah, Total, blah, blah, blah. And that's how Total got their record deal.